Hey everyone! So it wouldn't be an episode of Colorisma if there wasn't some kind of awesome technological disaster, and today is no different. I tried with my little phone that I was going to attempt to record from this week, and it's so old that StreamYard doesn't work with it. So, and that said, my iPad is too old. So this is just as good as it gets, I guess, until I'm able to get some upgraded technology. So yeah, hi, and welcome to Colorisma. I'm Shar, and today we're going to talk about going viral, something I have experienced only once in my life, and it was this morning. So I felt like I could gather my thoughts together and share my very limited and not super impressive experience with it. So that said, hey, Christy. That said, I am excited to be here today. I'm going to attempt to work on some art. I don't know how well this is going to go, as usual, for this whole thing. If I'm on my computer and I'm trying to draw on my computer and record from my computer, it really doesn't like that. So we're going to see if it can do the thing. I'm very suspicious it won't, but you know, I can always try. Let's see. I won't say too much more than that, but yeah. So I was on TikTok this morning, as I usually am, and I commented on, actually, I think I made the comment last night, and it was okay. All right, if you're not into TikTok, I apologize in advance because this is gonna not make a it's not going to be as impactful for you. But so I follow a lot of different creators on there. And of course, I follow a lot of cute animals on there. And one of the cute animals I follow is a dog named Bunny. And this is a poodle slash Old English sheepdog mix that is making headlines around the world because Bunny uses these little buttons that she pushes to talk to her owner. And it's very impressive. As a lifelong animal behavioralist amateur, I am very impressed by it. Scientists have taken note, and Bunny's basically single-handedly single-pointedly changing the way we understand the capacity for dogs' comprehension and just everything, consciousness and everything. So it's really cool. I've been following Bunny for a while. That said, Bunny always goes and wants to play with a dog named Beecher. And I don't think we've seen Beecher, or not very often anyway. So I wasn't aware of what kind of dog Beecher was. But I had just heard because there's a button for, I want to see Beecher. And so I saw a video last night, and it was the first thing on the video said, "Hey, do you want to go see Bunny?" And I was like, "Oh, that'd be cute if it was that same Bunny that I follow." And it was. So I made a comment as such, and I didn't think anything of it. I comment all the time, and a lot of the times I get like a couple hundred likes. I'm usually very solidly the second or third liked comment when I get in there early enough. And sure enough, I was the same. And I checked my email, or not my email, but I checked my notifications this morning, and it was like at 8,000 likes. And I was like, well, that's quite a bit different compared to normal. So that's cool. And then I watched it. It was actually kind of fun, just like constantly refreshing and just seeing names like flash up, and they do a good job on TikTok. It's not overwhelming to have that many notifications because they kind of just keep it to a single notification and just the number increases. But it's very bad. So when I had 8,000 likes on this comment, the notification was saying I had 200 likes on it. So I was like, well, that's off. And then it jumped from like 8,000 to 11,000, and then 12,000 in this almost the time I'm just sharing this story. And so it was like kind of a lot. And I was a little bit taken aback because I didn't expect a silly little comment that was just basically stating the obvious to do anything. And sure enough, it did. And last I checked, I think it was at 25,000, and that was definitely it's kind of weird. Like a comment I made has 25,000 likes on a platform that not many of my peers use, but sure. Well, we'll take it. What was also interesting to note from this was that I didn't get a single follow. I didn't get a single like on my stuff, and I only got like 6 comments from my comment, which it wasn't a very engaging comment, so I didn't expect a lot of people to like get back to me at all or say anything. All I got mostly was just a bunch of me too, me also. I also thought this was going to be that bunny and that beacher, but so yeah, I'm like, and that is the funniest thing is it's not even the top comment, it's the second top comment. So can't even be first top comment now. But yeah, so that is that. I found it amusing. It, like I said, as I reported on Twitter, I haven't seen any marked change in my lifestyle or, you know, fame status, still the same. So I managed to go viral in the most like random and not really life-changing way. And that is very on brand for me. So that said, it did get me thinking into what it would take or slash what would happen if something I did do that I actually wanted to go viral and actually could make a difference in my life. And that said, I was kind of thinking about that and just like discussing it with y'all. I don't know how many people watching this have had anything of theirs go viral and even just a silly comment on TikTok, but I could definitely see if this was my video, if I was like actually Beecher. And I think the video itself got 100,000 likes, and that's just likes, not views. Views are generally if a video has like 100,000 likes, it has like 500,000 to 1,000,000 views. It's like a percentage thing, though. It's actually is quite a lot of likes to views ratio because it's Beecher and he's a cute lab. So, and it was a cute video. But that said, if I also checked Beecher's, and my brain just immediately flashed, it's not all about likes. No, of course not. It's not all about likes, but it is a measure of a lot of different things, and it can also really help you. So that's kind of the angle I'm getting at. I'm not trying to say likes are everything and it's the only thing that matters. Because as I stated, my story should show that 25,000 likes and not a damn thing has changed in my life. So obviously likes don't really matter. But that said, I looked at Beecher's account and I think I checked it last night, and of course I followed him, but he had like 8,000 or so followers, and then I think last I checked he had like 14,000. So a little different there, a little bit of a difference between that video, how many people have viewed it, how many people have liked it. So there's always like a little, just however you want to call it, like a little difference in percentage for all those kind of stats. And I think there's probably a way to measure those stats and kind of see what's what, and kind of like probably develop a algorithm yourself for how big a video is going to get and how many percentage likes you're going to get from that, whatever. But that said, if I were Beecher, and there's a lot of other stuff in this too, like, do you want to monetize slash have a internet famous animal? There's a lot of stuff with that. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't have any pets right now. So, and when I did, I didn't make him internet famous. So, yeah, it's a consideration to take for that angle. But that said, say that's the angle you want to go with. Or like, you know, for instance, while we're here and we're talking about art, more than likely you want your art to go famous and you want your art to gain popularity and everything. You really need to set yourself up for that. It always confounds me when a situation like this happens, because I'm sure if it does happen for me, it's going to be on something that I don't care about that much, something I just kind of did really fast and I didn't really like put a lot of effort into. And then suddenly that thing is going to blow up, and I'll just be like, really, this? Mind you, I haven't had that experience, but I just sense that is something that will probably happen to me. Let me see. Yeah, Christy says that a few videos blown up, but doesn't seem to guarantee follows. That's absolutely true. Yeah, and sometimes videos with a lower view count give more followers than high views. So it can be really strange and unpredictable like that. I think also it depends on the video's engagement. So maybe in one video, and I'm not sure, but maybe in one video, if you ask for followers, you get more followers, even though technically there are fewer views to that video. Whereas another one you're maybe just doing for fun. So it's like really like kind of relatable and people like it, but they don't like it. It sounds like I'm in middle school. Yes, having to really temper expectations because there doesn't seem to be much of a pattern, and agreed. Yeah, tempering expectations is definitely a big thing. I didn't really expect anything from a random comment I made on a cutesy dog video. But sometimes, you know, I have like my art icon. Sometimes people get interested in that. I might change it. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's not interesting enough to click on. But yeah, so it's just something to keep in mind too, of like all the different factors that go into going viral, all the things. It's a lot of timing. It's a lot of good timing. That's it. If you want to like a TikTok famous comment like me, then you really got to get in there really early, and there's no way to really do that other than just follow big accounts and just check on them all the time, which, I mean, I guess if that's really what you want to do with your life, but you know, and like I said, it's not really going to get you much as far as just a comment. But if you're trying to plan content, and not necessarily with the expectation of it going viral, but the potential of it going viral, I've definitely paid attention to videos that like have blown up and have 1 to 2 plus million likes or views or whatever. And they typically have like a series after. It's like whatever the video is, and then like an explanation, story time, whatever afterward, and it dramatically peters off. Like it's like 1 million likes, and then 13,000 likes, and then 3,000 likes, and then 1,000 likes, and they keep making videos, but it keeps just, you know, only doing so well. So it really just goes to show that it's more about the impact of an individual thing, that moment in time, more than just, you're going to get people who really want like a follow-up or something, but you're not going to get that same initial impact unless you're kind of planning for it. And I have watched accounts that are big and popular and have a lot, like every single time have a lot of engagement and a lot of likes and stuff. And one actually got me the other day, and it's an account, I can't remember the name right now, but she's blonde and she does like little comedy skits with like tiny hands on her fingers. And she totally got me yesterday. She started like looking like she was crying and all upset. And she's like, actually, I don't have these tiny hands. They're not mine. And I was waiting. I was like, it's a joke. It's a joke. Cause she was really hamming it up. But yeah, so that creator gets millions of likes on every single video she makes, because she's not she's like doing a series, but she's not trying to copy every single video. She's still coming up with new and creative content every single time. And that's, I think, a huge part of the whole going viral thing, is that you have to, like, if you want any kind of consistency out of it, then you have to do stuff that you like, first of all. And then another thing is that you have to just keep creating. And part of it is momentum. I feel like once you have the audience, then they generally will want to stick with you. But yeah, it's one, getting the audience, and two, constantly having the ideas. And this is where I can see a lot of burnout. And I don't know, I see it, and I see these giant creators, and I'm like, God, that's so much work. Like, I think what they do is very difficult. I watch those kind of creators come up with these skits, and I love them. I love the skits. I laugh and, like it and leave a little comment or something. And that's about it. But like, it's so much effort for just 1 minute of entertainment on that platform specifically. But yeah, so it's kind of also one of those things too, where I guess probably those creators, those really, really big creators, probably get actual revenue from all those views and stuff, probably from like the creator fund or whatnot. But that's the level it gets to where probably that makes a difference, because I've heard not so great things about the creator fund. And this isn't just like a TikTok, whatever thing. I just spend a lot of time on there, so that's just kind of my platform topic of choice. But this can happen anywhere on a lot of different platforms. So that said, I am also thinking about, how do you get viral? I think basically just kind of planning for it, sticking in content that you actually like to do, and also just having to come up with good ideas all the time. It sounds very exhausting. And then that said, once you have the audience and you've captured their attention for, like, say, a literal minute, what then? As we've talked about, likes don't necessarily equal follows. And as well, if you don't continue to create content, you'll probably lose those followers. So it's kind of one of those things of like, okay, so you captured a bunch of attention, now what? And I think part of that, at least my strategy for maybe this year in this period of time I'm in, is going to be having, and this sounds really corny, and I hate using this word because it's such a markety kind of word, but like having a funnel, right? Like having a way for people to support me if they want to. Because a lot of times people do that. Like, they like a creator, they go through, they like all their stuff, which is actually not a good thing to do on TikTok, especially if you don't watch the whole video. And then they want to do the next step, which is like support that creator. And so if you don't have anything set up and you go viral, then nothing happens. There's no kind of point to it. It's like a cool little moment in time. You get to see a bunch of like numbers flash before your eyes that really don't mean anything. And then the next day happens and it's like it never happened. And then you constantly get updates about it like 6 months later. There's videos I've made top comments on, and I still get random, like I'll get a notification that someone liked that comment. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's another point too. You don't want to be over, especially on TikTok. It's so kind of anti-salesy. Like, it's a very delicate platform to try to get people's attention on. And as Christy says, it's hard to direct people toward a shop link or a Patreon or something without seeming pushy. And I know for me, kind of a big hang up I've been having lately is creating content, really, either through comic form or post it on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, that are engaging. That I did once do that. I made a comic that kind of like directed people to like my comic. It was like a little side comic thing, featuring the characters from my comic. And it was a cutesy little thing, and I actually got quite a number of follows from that when I actually advertised it on Instagram. And that was good. It's not really one of those things where you, because I was just asking for a follow, I did get follows, but it didn't really translate to anything that was like life-changing. And I thought, well, this worked once, I can just do it again. And it took like, it didn't necessarily take this whole time, but it took about 6 weeks to come up with that little cutesy comic idea, and then to create it and draw it and everything else. So speaking of creating and drawing, I keep forgetting that, oh, okay, it's not. It's doing that thing where it doesn't want to work now. So that's kind of why I don't really, I'll come up with something one day where it'll actually work like how I want, but I don't know if today is that day. No, it's not. Okay, well, I tried. So yeah, that said, I came up with the comic idea, I worked on it, I pushed it out there, and it was successful. But like I said, it took me like 6 weeks to do that. And that was with like a crowd of people helping me. And I was going through a paid mentorship at the time and everything else. So without all of that engagement and help and kind of critique and everything else, I've just been really stuck, and that's been like a year now. Granted, it was last year, so a lot of stuff was going on. But it was definitely an experience where I realized like this is really difficult. This content creation thing is really difficult, and that's above and beyond anything I'm doing with the actual comic story. This is like little marketing pitches and cutesy little ads, and I can come up with the ideas pretty fast in my head, but I don't know if they're good, and I don't have a lot of people to test it before I actually spend money on advertising it, or even just spend the time to flesh out the idea. So those are all aspects of, and those are ideas that I would like to go viral, right? Because those are things that I could direct people to. I could say, hey, you know, I could create a cutesy little comic about my Patreon. And I know too much about marketing, I think, to do a lot of stuff, because I'm like, oh no, I can't do that because people don't know about the thing. So they're not going to like go for supporting a thing they don't know about. So I have to do brand awareness first. And like I said, I've researched marketing too much, but it's actually impeding me from moving forward, because I like have all these ideas about what I need to be doing now, but then whatever, I just went through it. But anyway, so all that said, it's difficult to even come up with anything that does go viral. And then if it does, like I said, it's hard for it to even matter sometimes, because the thing, you can't really choose when people are going to really relate heavily and like blow something up. In fact, case in point to that Beecher creator, that wasn't the first video they did. Like, it wasn't like the first video that they created was that one that I commented on. That was like, I don't know how old the account is, but I saw many videos before that, like at least a dozen or so. So it wasn't even like their first go at trying this. So that's the other thing, is like sometimes you just got to keep trying and trying and trying. And if you try to at least have a plan every single time you do make an effort, if it is the thing that takes off. I heard a story a long time ago that someone had a YouTube channel where they just like did wine tastings or wine reviews or something. And they did a different wine. I think it was something crazy. Like, they tried a different wine and they posted a video about it every single day. And I want to say for like 3 or 4 years before it started taking off. And I was like, that is so much dedication. I mean, I know I've had 3 or 4 years go by and I've been trying at doing various things, but that's a level of commitment that I feel like I would be so discouraged by the time that came around. But they just kept at it, and then, you know, it kept working. I don't even know if you want like a page that's just sitting there of effectively like, look, I could just it's me. Anyway, so yeah, trying to figure out what to do, when to do it, how long to do it. That's the other thing. I tend to give up after a while because of just discouragement. And another thing, I'm not, I don't want to say playing around with, but highly suspicious that I probably have ADHD. And that said, there's also something about ADHD people, or ADHD having people that where they are highly rejection sensitive. And at first I'm like, nah, I don't know, I can handle rejection well. And then I'm like, wait, but you don't like sustain long-term rejection and you don't handle that too well. And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's true. So I don't know if that's a human trait, a SHAR trait, or a specific like ADHD trait, but that's another thing to kind of battle with, as well as like while you're trying to get onto this like viral train, can you even take it? Because it's really difficult. It's really difficult to stay and try to figure out everything. And that said, I think I got like 8 comments last I checked to that little comment that I made on the video, and all of them were fine. All of them were good. And even the one tiny less than great comment was very, very mild. Like it only stands out because it's not exactly like all the other comments. And it was more of like a conversation starter than a diss or anything. They were just like, oh, how'd you not know this was Beecher, but just playing around. So that said, even that tiny, 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 minute, very small comment kind of showed me like, oh, okay, so like this isn't bad if it's just one very mild thing, but what if it was like a bunch of really bad comments, because people can be really dinguses, and especially when they see that something is taking off, they forget that there's a creator behind it. It's kind of easy to remember if it's like A, the person's face, and B, if it's got like 30 views or 30 likes or something, then you're like, oh, okay, like this person is still up and coming and still it's still a person. Like there's a disconnect that happens when you see someone has 1 million likes on something and when someone only has just a few, because that person with just a few is still reading all the comments. And as just the little bit of experience I have with this, the comments really do just go flying through. So there's like no way to really go through them all without spending literally every second of every day doing that. And I don't want to say it's a waste of time. I'm sure the first couple of times that happens, it's really fun, but then it's just like, I'm sure exhausting to check all that all the time, especially if it's happening often. But it would be even more exhausting if those comments were not always nice. And of course, the bad things in life tend to stick out. I feel like the bad things like create like an emotional connection. And for me anyway, when I have an emotion, I tend to remember that more than like a series of basic events like shutting and locking your door and driving to work or whatever. Like I do that enough times that I don't have like a specific a specific memory of every single time I do it. But say if I learned like bad news while I was in the middle of doing that, that might actually stick out to me more. Like I might go like, oh, I was making my breakfast when I found out this bad information, and like that breakfast will stick out in your mind. And so I actually just made that example up, so I'm not like trying to share like specific trauma. But that said, bad comments tend to stick out more, and you remember them more than the just like little fluffy happy comments, which is kind of sad because it would be nicer to hold on to those way more than any kind of bad comment. But it is so easy for that to just like really like gut punch you and take you off guard because you're not really expecting or wanting people to treat you bad, but it happens. Yeah, that's a good point too. Want to grow on TikTok or any platform, but then have to also worry about rude comments. And this is kind of like going back to, I kind of wouldn't mind if going viral and getting millions of likes and comments and stuff was a thing that happened in the early 2020s and early aughts and stuff. And then eventually just kind of went away. And we all kind of created like smaller, more compact, close knit communities where there was a lot less like aggravation and like meanness, for lack of a better word, inside the communities. I think a lot of people who do this kind of like comments, they're fleeting, they're thinking, they're just lashing out. Can stand here and all day and just like give them excuses for doing that. But the point is it happens the bigger the community. The smaller something is, you kind of like know everyone better. You kind of know like everyone more personally. So it is less likely for you to lash out. It's like there's two different extremes. I don't know anyone at all, so I'm going to lash out because it means nothing to me. And then sometimes you know someone too well and you lash out because like, how could you hurt me because we know each other so well. So there's also like this nice middle ground where you know someone just well enough to just always kind of stay in that like friendly zone. And you're like, I don't want to hurt your feelings because like social constructs dictate that I shouldn't. And we don't know each other well enough, nor do I, but I know you too well to hurt your feelings, but I don't know you well enough to hurt your feelings. It's weird. Just for an example, like think about your family versus like your extended group of friends and how differently you treat them and how differently you maybe have treated them in the past, even if now things are fine. But yeah, so all that said, growing does have some consequences to it. And a lot of those consequences is that bad comments and all that kind of stuff will come. And I wonder sometimes if like I'm somewhat preventing myself. Oh yeah, because like this is totally within my control. I could go viral at any time if I wanted to. If I'm kind of wondering if like, I guess in a more cosmic sense, if the universe is protecting me from, you know, like these kind of things, because maybe I can't actually handle all that kind of like stress. I get one bad comment and it does kind of like ruin my week or, you know, day, or at least definitely the next hour. And I totally get stressed out. And even without bad comments generally at all, I have a hard enough time to like stay focused and kind of like concentrate on my work and stuff. So if I had a bunch of bad comments to also deal with, I wonder how negatively that would impact me and my life and everything else. So it's definitely one of those things where you got to take it into consideration and think about whether or not going viral is even for you, and what you would do if to mitigate those things if it does happen to you and maybe caught you off guard or whatever. I definitely see that a lot on TikTok specifically. People just post up something silly, and of course it's just like the perfect mix of like cute animal, short time span, so it doesn't take up people's attention all that long. And then just like boom, just like that, like they suddenly get like 1 million likes or views or whatever. There's definitely things you can do to prevent yourself from going viral. It's basically copy anything I do. Doing things too long tends to get people's attention. Even a minute of kind of boring content is not really going to go viral. There's a difference between boring and serene, though. Like there's a lot of that serene kind of nature-y type content that does well. And then there's also, it's a weird line though, because without the right like musical backtrack or whatever, watching snowfall can be boring, or a river flow can be boring. I don't know. It's so tied in with emotions that sometimes it's really hard to really nail down as to what is definitely potentially going to go viral. Other times there's really good content and there's nothing really wrong with it. It's got a catchy soundtrack. It's super fast paced. The clips are nice. And it still just doesn't do anything. And then other times there's stuff that you're like, I mean, I guess, and it totally went viral and you're just like, all right, okay. I mean, I guess it hit the criteria to some extent. I felt like that, especially when I first got on that app, on TikTok specifically. There weren't a lot of artists, so I saw stuff go viral that I was just like, okay, all right. I've been in the professional art world so long that I have like a certain standard for how I view art and everything. And I forget that a lot of people who aren't creatives don't either have that standard or are just impressed by varying levels of quality. And this isn't to diss anyone. It's just when you're used to seeing professional art and then something like blows up that isn't what you would consider professional art, you're just like, I had to work really hard to even get minorly noticed for the thing I did. And then I got like barely any praise for it. But I don't know. There's a little bit of a jadedness that hits in all those kind of things too. But yeah, so definitely have to worry about haters. I don't think that's talked about enough. I guess a good strategy, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I would guess a good strategy to deal with that would be to just go ahead and like block and delete. I don't see a lot of merit in engaging with people who don't like what you do. They obviously don't like it, so why don't, to me, I think you're helping. If someone hates your content and wants to leave a rude comment, just help them along. Okay, well, I'll make sure you never see this again because you hate it so much. And that's how I feel about blocking. I guess some people kind of view it in a more like petty way, like, oh, they couldn't handle it. And it's just like, or maybe they just didn't want to. Like, you want them to not be able to handle it. You want to have gotten under their skin. And other times, I mean, and maybe that happens with some people, but I think that more likely people are just like, yeah, over it. Okay, goodbye. And especially if they've dealt with it for a while, they probably doesn't even faze them at all. They probably just laugh at how uncreative it is. Like, oh, this one, I've heard this one like 16 times in the past hour, so try harder, you know? Yeah, exactly. I agree, Christy. It's like, just block and delete and don't even acknowledge it. The other thing I keep seeing, especially on TikTok specifically, is a lot of like call out videos. And I don't mean specifically when there's a creator that's like blowing up for something that is bigoted in some way and people need to like call them out because obviously the platform is not taking them down. They're allowing this kind of hate speech to like grow, and it's not good. But I mean more like on a personal basis, people will get a hateful comment and then they'll reply to it because that's something you could do on TikTok, and they will reply to the hateful comment and like blow it up and make it its own special video. And I'm just like, no, that's the wrong move. Like, don't do that because you are totally giving them life. Like, you could have smothered that. You could have like put the lid on that flame. It was burning so bright and you just put the lid in out and it just got no air and then just smoke out. Instead, you breathed fire into it. You gave it life. You gave it special attention. And even if that person got some like bad comments later and decided to delete the comment, for a moment there, you just fueled their anger and their ego and probably led to, or not probably, but potentially led to that person going around. And even if you ended up blocking that person, going and doing that more because, oh, I liked it a little. Even bad attention is still attention, right? I'm gonna stop knocking into my table. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you do get some negative comments to just go ahead and just smother them while you can, like while it's small and unnoticed. And then later on, if you keep getting a lot of attention and thereby negative comments, just as they get big enough for you to notice, just delete them. Who cares? Like, yeah, even, I mean, that said, depending on the content you make, you do want to be aware that every comment that goes against what you're saying isn't necessarily a hate comment. There's a difference between someone just calling you a name and telling you to get off the app and someone coming at you with like constructive critique because what you said had some problematic aspects to it. So you just gotta, you can't just take the band hammer to everything. And there's different levels of understanding how the world works, and somebody who has a different understanding than you could take umbrage, and you could decide to engage with them or not. I mean, it's really your platform. You can do whatever you want, but definitely take that into account too. I don't want to just say uniformly like delete, 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 and you're like creating problematic content and not listening to when a bunch of people are telling you that maybe you should rethink your video choices and the way you're talking and everything. So that said, I'm leaning more towards like pure entertainment, cutesy entertainment, stuff that's largely inoffensive. I feel like it's a different avenue to talk to about if you're doing like social justice content, and that's like a whole other ballpark of issues that you would have to confront. So my thing is more just like art based. And I have seen some art that is like mixing social justice in with art, and I think that's really cool and a good way to like bring attention to the issues as well. So, you know, do whatever works for you, but that is something that could be a potential pitfall though with that is it's nice because I guess nice, quote unquote, I guess I could literally do air quotes because you can see me, but the more engagement you get, generally the better off your videos are. So I have also seen people who do like deliberately inflammatory content just for the views and the content, and they know that it's going to get a bunch of rage and they don't care. And that's like a whole other thing. Like maybe don't do that, but that's why I would like, ultimately why I would like to see a more Thousand True Fans kind of platform, because it would avoid doing that. You would stay into the zone of doing things that really bring you passion and make you happy, and you're less tempted, if you were to be tempted, to make content just for controversy and like likes and views and follows and stuff like that. I don't think profiting off of controversy is like a super cool thing to do, but that's just me. But yeah, so I would say, I guess, to kind of start rounding off the conversation, if you're going to be able to develop content that hopefully will go viral because you've made it like short, catchy, cutesy, relatable, you know, all the things that are just super easy to do. Why aren't all of us viral all the time? And then you continue to push that content because, you know, that's always a good thing to do. Not everything you do is going to 100% hit it out of the park. So you got to keep trying. And it's got to be different enough from the last stuff so people don't get bored with it. It's again, super easy. We should all be doing this. I don't know why anyone has a problem, including myself. So all of that said, should you actually hit a viral thing, be prepared. Like, what is the thing you want to direct people toward once you do hit it? Were you talking about your shop? Did you mention your shop? It'd be good to mention your shop. Even some people I've even seen do like a little, they leave it up during their whole video, like their shop URL. So it's like a super subtle thing. But hey, I mean, it gives people the opportunity to both see your video and the content, even if it's not a direct selling piece of content. it gives people the opportunity to support you if they want. So that's always a good way to go. And just be sure that you are trying to do things that you really like. If you comment and, or not necessarily comment, but if you create a thing that goes viral and you didn't really care about it, that's why I'm kind of careful about what I tweet about, because I would hate for some, I would just be so mad if I just tweeted like butts and that got like 2 million likes and retweets and everything. And then I was like, no, but here's my actual, and everybody's like, nah, we weren't here for that. We didn't care about your shop. We're just here for the butts. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Why did I do that? Like, just be aware of what you're doing and make sure that it is kind of in alignment with what you want ultimately. Not to say you can't ever be silly or whatever, because that can also be sort of like, and this sucks to say, but like your brand or whatever, like your personality online or whatever. And people, there's no harm in like attracting people to that, because that's fair. So all, just trying to eventually like try to create a reason for people to want to keep coming back. And then the aftermath, like, okay, so you hit it, you're viral. Maybe you actually were able to make something of it and direct people to either a shop or your Patreon, or just following your art, so you have a larger audience and a base than you did before. And now you have haters. And it was nice while it lasted to not have haters, and then suddenly you do. And then what's your like game plan for dealing with that? And you just have to have, I would say, think of that now before you need to, and it will make dealing with it so much easier. And the very, very, very minor experience that I've had with people who are leaving just pointless, hateful comments, I just block and delete. Like, sometimes I'll even see people leave hateful comments to other people, and I preemptively block and delete, because I'm like, I never want you to see my stuff. I already see the person you are. You're already showing your whole face right now, and I'm like, not going to be a part of it. So just be aware that, like, just have that plan in place and maybe start acting on it now, even with other people. Not to say you want to get sucked into other people's drama, but definitely, if it doesn't hurt to preemptively strike against people who would not think twice about striking against you. So that said, I hope this helps a little bit. I don't know. I don't have a ton more. I am curious about like what's going to be happening when I check my account thing next. But yeah. I don't know that I have too much more to contribute. Like I said, my little story was very minor in the grand scheme of things as far as going viral goes. It didn't really have an impact in me in my life, but it was kind of, like I said, a neat little thing to have happen. And if it happened once, maybe it'll happen again. We'll see. Maybe I'll just be like actually on my account for a change. I have been analyzing like my content and what I'm putting out there, and a lot of it is just like cutesy stuff that I'm not really doing to try to get any kind of notoriety or anything. But I am like also, and I hate this, but I am trying to like curate, especially like my Instagram right now. And I have so many interests, and when I realize is like, okay, I can, on these platforms, they have a way for me to show like the main thing that I do, but also have ways of showing other stuff that I do like and appreciate. And that's what I'm doing in the IG stories for that particular platform. And that's been really helpful for me, because like I really like, I'm not good at it, but I like organization. And so I like looking and seeing like all the different things I have an interest in, and then categorizing them into those interests. So when I do add something to my IG stories, I can just highlight it and down into my different interests, and at least have some kind of like organization there, and show people like, hey, there's more to me than just this art, and if you're interested, it's here, and if not, oh well. But at least it makes me happy, so there's that. Yeah, I am kind of out of ideas for anything else. I'll just go ahead and make this a short one. I did get a little late start because of technological difficulties. I'm looking at you, old iPhone. There it is. It's so cute too. I was really hoping it was going to work. I was really fingers crossed, but it kept telling me, StreamYard kept telling me to open Safari with, and I was looking at it in Safari. So I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. But yeah, one day I'll have a setup that is worthy of all this. And one day I will also have another guest. I keep forgetting. Tuesday is kind of like the last day of the week, at the beginning of the week, where I need to like really start getting people emailed to see if they want to join the show. I feel like if I email by Friday, it's too late to like join for the next week, because then I'll have to like do a bunch of like crazy schedule stuff. But yeah, that's my own personal problem. That's not y'all's problem. But anyway, that said, I am going to, it's on the list. It's been on the list for the past 8 weeks. But I am thinking about it a lot. But yeah, that said, thank you for watching. If you are interested in supporting Colourisma, you can always do so for free by following us here on YouTube. Also, you can join us over on Instagram and Twitter if you want. And if you really, really want to see more Colourisma content, then you can check out Colourisma. Nope, you don't do that. You do patreon.com/Colourisma. That'll get you where you're looking for. And that can definitely help us grow the channel and do a whole bunch of more stuff. So thank you, and maybe get more better technology, because I need it. Yes, so thank you for watching. I appreciate it as always, and take care. Bye. There we go.